Today's May 31st, 2025, 6:23 in the morning. I'm here at my house alone. Well, not alone. I have Doodog and Flower here. Sorry, Doodog. Sorry I woke you. Sorry, buddy. And I just want to make a video. Hopefully, I have enough space on this camera here, my laptop, to make the video where it doesn't cut off because I was making a video in my car. My last video talking about what happened at work, and it cut off, of course, I think because I started getting too agitated. And for some reason, whenever I'm talking about something that's like a personal thing, where there are actual people in my life involved that I'm talking about, all of a sudden, like, things start glitching, or the camera goes off, or I don't have enough memory, or my battery dies, or some shit happens to keep me from speaking. So I'm assuming that's what happened, because I was getting to the heavier part of it, I guess. Talking about how my boss was getting getting onto me about something, while at the same time acknowledging how it wasn't my fault, without really realizing what she did. So basically, I don't remember where I left off exactly, but basically she had asked me to do these other things that I felt were a waste of time, because we already had templates of the things that she was asking me to do, first of all. And second of all, like, I already know, like, what's going on in the lives of my clients. I don't need to go and, like, question them about what they're doing and what's going on. I text them, and we communicate like that. That's how I've been keeping tabs on them. Well, most of them. Some of them, I mean, some clients just don't like to talk. They don't want to share information. They just want you, to help them with the shelter, and then that's it. Like, they just want you to leave them alone, and they have a right to. Like, I don't have a right to be, interrogating them every day about what they're doing and what's going on. Like, if they don't want me to do that, if all I have to do is stick to the standards of whatever the rules are, and go from there. But but they want us to be more, I get, or she wanted me to be more, like, on them and stuff, and I don't like doing that. I don't like, especially since I don't even have enough time. Like, I didn't even have enough time to be doing that. I had other things, I had other families coming in, paperwork I had to do, the rooms that were not ready, to worry about, and that I hadn't finished working on, that I haven't. So, doing these extra steps to go, like, the extra mile or miles for people that don't want me to be doing that. I thought it was a waste of time, and it was gonna be a waste of time. I know it was. So I didn't want to do that. And I didn't, I told myself, well, if I have time to do it, I'll get to it. I'll get to that. But I never did. Um, you know, I had families waiting to move in, and I had rooms that weren't ready because I'm the only one basically working on getting them ready. For some reason, I'm not the maintenance person, I'm not the building person, I'm not in charge, where I can just call people and have them come and fix things and do it all. Like, I'm not the one to do that. I have to ask, I have to put in requests, and that's what I did. I had done that. So the fact that it's not like they want me to be, basically what she was telling me essentially is she wants me to be every day on them, like, hey, we need this done, hey, we need this done. And why do I need to be like that? Like, I already told you once. Why do I have to be there reminding you every day? Like, I don't like to put pressure like that on people. I don't like to be going and I know they already have a lot to do anyways. So why am I gonna be going and like pressuring, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, like we need to get this done so we can go ahead and rent these rooms out. Like I'm not gonna do that. I can't. Like I don't like to put pressure on people. I see my fellow employees as human beings that are just as vulnerable and sensitive as the people we're trying to help out of their situation. So so for me to be treating them like if they're some kind of robots that need to like, you know, keep up with things, or else I no, that's not the energy I'm gonna carry. And that's the energy she wanted me to carry, because that's the kind of energy that she carries around, with her. And that's fine. Like that's her way of working, but that's not mine. Like that when I first started working, I tried to, be a person, a helpful person to Monica when she needed help for this or that. But then the one day, this is all it takes for me. One time, one day for me to decide like where I'm gonna stand in somebody's life. I went to work after I had got in a car accident. Well, it wasn't really an accident. It was kind of, I was having an emotional breakdown, and I I hit somebody who was antagonizing me and being a fucking piece of shit on the road, and I was just not in the mood at the time, and I was on my way to work. I was pissed off because of the vehicle I was in. It was kept like stalling and not going, and I was worried it was gonna break down, and I was just stressed out about. I was when I was going through the custody battle, and it was horrible, horrible. Living back at my parents, horrible. I was just filled with a lot of anger, and this person cut me off, fucking piece of shit, cut me off, and then fucking starts like trying to block me from passing him, and I'm with my shitty van that's like not driving very well and not being able to catch up and stuff. So, and then he just was staying like lingering around me. And so at one point I hit him like literally, because I had thrown a water bottle, and then they threw one back, and then it from there I just lost it, and I fucking hit his car. And uh yeah, I did it on purpose, because I was upset, and I really didn't care at the time what happened to me, which was not a smart thing to do. I know it's stupid, stupid as fuck, okay? But that's the kind of shit that I do when I get mad. When I get really upset, I make idiotic decisions like that could affect me negatively in the long run if it goes a certain way. This went away that was more in my favor this time, thankfully. But yeah, so anyway, so I went to work after that, and I was late. And this morning at work there was gonna be I believe the news was coming to do a story, and they were going to record the inside of the unit in one of the family's rooms. And in this room it was freezing. It was really, really cold because there was issues with the air conditioning. So she wanted me to cover the vent, or figure out, like, basically to control the room temperature in there somehow. That's what she wanted me to do. And without lowering the temperature, because if I did that, then it would make the other room too hot, because it's an air vent that's connected to both rooms. So if you change the temperature, it affects both rooms, and one of them gets more hot than the other one gets super cold. So if I were to lower it, it would make that other client start complaining that it's too hot. So I had to figure out, because they had a baby in there, and she didn't want the camera people or the news people to see that it was freezing and there was a baby. And so she wanted me to get there to cover it up before they went or whatever. But I was late because of what happened. So when I got there, I'm still like reeling down from what happened, and I'm trying to apologize and stuff, and say, that I wanted to tell her what happened. But then she was like, she just didn't give a fuck like why I was late. She just cared that I was late, and she just started like snapping at me, like kind of had like a like a little attitude with me, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, and then she was just mad because I wasn't there to make the room like a certain temperature, and it got me mad because I'm like, this room has been fucking cold like this for a long time. I've been mentioning it to you all, that it's been cold, and the issue. You knew the issue before I got there, that the rooms have a discrepancy between them, and you're gonna get mad at me because I wasn't here to fix the issue that you've known about for so long. You're gonna get mad at me like this. I mean, I didn't tell her all that. I just like, I just looked at her like, wow. And that in that moment, that's when I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be your little go-to gopher anymore. Like, no, like I'm not, because like I'm not gonna let somebody treat me like that. And the moment that you accept a certain behavior from somebody of how they treat you, that's the way they're gonna treat you from that point on. They're gonna see you as a certain role in their life, and they're gonna emanate that towards you every single time they're with you. And I do not allow people to mistreat me like that. I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're from or who you know. Like, I don't give one single flying fuck. I really don't. I'm not gonna be treated and talked down to just because, oh, you have a certain title and income and than I do, a better one than I do. No. So from that point on, I kind of like cut myself. Like, I stopped going to her for everything and asking her, bothering her for stuff. To me, it was like, you know what, you seem like stressed already enough, like in your life. I don't want to add more onto that or whatever. You don't need to know about my problems or whatever. You don't care anyway. So, like, why am I going to mention anything? So, I didn't tell her what happened. I didn't tell her anything. She didn't know that I was going through an episode or anything. She didn't want to know. So, from that moment on, I just I stayed focused more on my direct supervisor, Francis, and just asking her what I needed, going to her, like, and so yeah, so with stuff, when she would ask me to do certain things, like that, I would just be like, okay, but I wouldn't say like, oh yes, yes, I'll do it, for sure, unless it's something that I was really gonna do, like I knew she needed for a project or something, or a meeting, like some kind of data information, basically, is what I would help with. But any little requests like that, little things just to help the image, like, no, I stopped, because to me that's all she was concerned about, was the image of what those news reporters were gonna think, and not actually the fact that it was freezing in the room and they had been, complaining about it for a while. So, anyways, so the maintenance issues, like for the rooms, I had given the list. I had given a maintenance request. I had performed inspections and outlined what needed to be done, what and I was still working on some of the rooms on what they needed. I didn't have time to like do everything. So, she's telling me this, that it's my responsibility to make sure these rooms are up to date and ready to go, while at the same time saying that we lack the resources, we lack the manpower, to be able to do it. So she was, I think essentially what she was telling me without telling me is, well, you should have come to me and I would have helped you get it done. I would have helped you organize volunteers or whatever to get it done. Which could be true. Like, if I would have went to her to do that, like, that probably could have happened. But I didn't want to overstress her. I knew she was working on a lot already. I mean, we had just had a birthday party for my coworker, and she didn't show up, and Francis made the comment that she didn't show up because of the fact that she was overthinking or overstressed about a board meeting she had the next week. So, and I know she has a lot on her plate because she's been opening that new other side of Bethany House, and she's been doing a lot with that. So I didn't want to also go and bring that up to her, knowing how she is already when she gets like stressed out and stuff. and have to be around all that. Like, no, I rather just, okay, well, I'll just wait until JJ has time to help me, or to do it, to organize it, because I have other things I need to do anyways. I have other families coming in and paperwork I need to do, and the clients that I have certain things that they need help with, so when she's telling me there about how it's my responsibility and I didn't do it, and all that, I'm at the same time, she's saying JJ doesn't have enough time to do everything, so blah blah blah, and I'm just like, wow, like that. I'm not gonna keep doing this. Like, they're getting on to me for work that's not being progressed when I've been giving the maintenance request. I've been putting in my job. Technically my job is just to report it. Like, I'm not supposed to be calling people and having them come in. Like, Francis had told me in the beginning that it was my job, but I know that's not true. And Monica said in that meeting, like, she didn't want me to be doing that because it's not my job. Like, I'm not the director of operations. I'm not the shelter coordinator. I'm not the one in charge of the building. I'm just in charge of the families, and how they behave and how they act or whatever. I'm not in charge of everything else, like all the background. So so I started getting upset and feeling like I was about to snap, mostly because of the fact that they were trying to force me to bring in that family that I didn't want to bring in. I really didn't want to, because I'm getting, like I was telling them, and how I've told my counselor and how I've been telling people, I feel like I'm just enabling horrible parents. I feel like I'm enabling shitty drug addicted parents to just have a safe space where they can do their drugs and abuse their kids in peace. And I don't want to be a part of that. If I see that, because those are the ones, there's this thing, it's called the VSPADAT. It's this questionnaire that we have to give to every single client that comes in, and we have to it scores them based on the severity of their situation. So it asks questions like, do you do drugs, do you drink, has that been a problem, uh have you, do you have a mental health issue, like, basically all the people that mark the boxes on those things, that are in drugs, that are in gangs, that are in the baddest worst shit, they get priority over everybody because their situation is more severe. So we jump them to certain parts of the lists with the housing based off of that score, and the score is based on those types of questions. And I always thought that was stupid. I'm like, why are we giving priority to the drug addicts, to the, like, they should be getting scores to be going to rehab or getting some kind of mental health, not to be housed, and the taxpayers pay for their money, their income, their rent. I mean, like, that's not how it should work. I don't think that's how it should work. That just incentivizes people to be lazy and drug addicted, and keep them, if they want to keep living that life where they're getting those that help. And a lot of them have figured that out, and that's why they stay like that, and they know how to work. That's what they mean by they work the system. They know how to act or what to say, and they do it so they can keep living their lives without having to work a 9 to 5 job like the rest of us. And so these people, they've had a really high score. I'm sure I haven't even checked what their score was, but um yeah, they were forced to come back. Like, she was forcing me to bring them back in. And these people, they're not even homeless technically. Well, she told me by the definition of McKinney-Vento they were homeless, but they're not homeless. They live in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico, the city that's right next to us here. They have a place there where they stay. They come every day across the border so they can eat at the shelter, and, probably get their drugs and stuff. But at the end of the day, they would always go home back to Nuevo Laredo, and they had a place to lay their head, and a shelter, a roof above their head. They had that over there. They have it. So technically they're not homeless, but to her, I feel like she just wanted me to bring them in because they were there, and she wants families in there now already because she wants the numbers, to be up there for who we're helping. Because even when I wasn't getting much families anymore, she wanted me to like start going to recruit people to come in, and I'm like, what? Like, what do you what? That's not how this is supposed to work. This is supposed to be help for people that need it, people that go looking. I'm not supposed to be going and like hunting down people that may or may not need the help and ask if they want the help, like that's not how it's supposed to work. Um so at least not in that aspect where you're maybe if you're just doing community outreach to see how people are doing generally before you just like try to house them, but you don't go send a caseworker out, just a shelter caseworker out to see if they want to come to your shelter. Like, no, like that's no. Some people would rather stay living at their tío and tía's house, because it's safer, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't blame them for that. But anyway, so I was just very upset in the meeting, thinking about all these things. How I've been having these thoughts for a while that I don't want this job anymore because I feel like I'm just enabling people, and I can't really talk to them anymore because I'm not allowed to be a counselor, so I can't share my opinion and stuff on what I think, what I feel, like my true opinion or whatever. So I'm just like, I'm kind of zoning out of the job already, like, and I'm getting irritated with myself for what the contribution I feel I'm having, on families like that are not healthy, not well mentally, like they need serious professional mental help, drug rehab help, and so yeah, and then the thought of having to help this family that I already had helped. I had already housed this family. I had already, and I had told the fucking lady like to leave this guy, like, because he was just causing problems, and he's just dragging her down and taking the money and wasting it and da 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 on his drugs. And she never wanted to leave him. And I think honestly the reason why she didn't is because she liked to partake in the drugs too. She liked that. She knew. I know she's a liar for a fact because I would smell sometimes when she opened the door. I never went in the room while they were like living there, not fully. I think one time I did, and it smelled like cigarettes, and I was like, "Do you guys smoke in here?" She was like, "No, no, no." Like she was lying to me. She knows that obviously they're smoking in there. He's smoking in there, or she was probably smoking in there too, like from the look on her face that she gave me. So I know she's a liar. So if they're asking her, "Do you do drugs?" and "Oh, no, no," oh, she's fucking lying, and I can tell just by looking at her, and you can see it as I'm judging her or whatever. I don't care. I call it an analytical observation based on my personal experience of working with people on drugs and seeing how they are. After a while, I got the gist of who's on something and who isn't, and she's definitely done stuff, and I didn't want to bring her in with her kids and give her that space again for her to be smoking in there. No, so I told her, no, I'm not bringing in that family. She's like, "Well, it's not up to you. It's really not up to you." And I was like, "Well, actually it kind of is up to me because I'm the transitional housing case manager that's going to be in charge of them. I'm the one that's going to have to sign the papers to bring them all in. So yeah, it is up to me. And if that's what you guys are going to want me to be doing, then I'll just give my 2 weeks notice right now because I'm not going to be helping uh families to be doing their drugs easier. I'm not going to be giving them a safe space so they can just be a drug addict in our facility here. Like, I'm just not." And then she was like, "Well, that's fine. That's okay." Like, she gave me a look like she was already kind of considering replacing me anyways. So I was like, whatever, like that's fine. Like, I don't care. I had been wanting to give my 2 weeks anyways for so long because I was getting to that point of like, I don't feel this job is the right thing for me anymore. Like, and then the safety, oh my God, like the safety for employees and the clients for that matter is horrible there. Like, because they let people that are not mentally well, that are not that are all on drugs, they let them stay there, that are all drunk, they let them stay there and be, on their shit while they're there, just, mingling. And they shouldn't even be there. The shelters are supposed to be for sleeping only. Emergency shelters, you're supposed to leave during the day so you can go look for a job, go take care of your shit, and get yourself out of that situation. But at this shelter, they're allowed to stay there all fucking day, doing their drugs outside, smoking and drinking and harassing people. I had to call the cops yesterday on this one lady that was in the street, like, making some weird ass movements. She was literally blocking a fucking vehicle from driving. I had to yell at her and tell her to move, or I was gonna call cops. Because she's not letting a car pass, and just literally right in front of the vehicle, like standing right in front of the vehicle like this. And you know why do we have to deal with that? We shouldn't. Those people should be arrested, they should be incarcerated, they should be institutionalized, they should be forced to leave the premises at a certain time. But that's not how she wants it. And the reason why she's doing that is because in the new building that they're building, there's gonna actually be a courtyard, like, on the facility, an outside courtyard where they can hang out with chairs and everything, like not like how it is here. It's not really meant for people to just be hanging out there. And in this other courtyard, they're gonna have it like that. So she was, I guess, trying to get them used to that type of thing, which is stupid to me. Like, you shouldn't have done that until the other buildings actually open, because it wasn't, before she became the director, it wasn't like that. They weren't allowed to be laying down, lounging around, leaving their stuff there. Like, they had to leave. But then she became the director and she changed it. And like, now we're having all these problems again of people, like, doing, selling drugs there and being on drugs and all fucked up and harassing people. I've had clients complain to me, that they try to sell their kids drugs. I've had clients complain that they try to hit on them. We had a sexual predator there that wasn't vetted correctly, and he was trying to get close to one of my clients with young children. It's fucking horrible, horrible. And we just kind of, like, deal with it, the little issues, and brush them off, suspend them here and there, whatever, ban them, and then that's it. And it's not safe. Like, it's not safe. And then they expect us to, like, not stand up for ourselves. Like, we can't talk, like, yell back at them or anything. I got in trouble. That was one of the things that I got. The first counseling I got was because one of the clients, the fucking psychopath that should be in a fucking institution somewhere, she started telling me stuff, like, randomly. Like, I don't even know what the fuck she was saying, something about my purse and my hair. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, all you girls, and yeah, da, da. And I'm just like, okay, ma'am. Like, and then she had a bottle of juice or some shit that she was holding, and she ends up fucking like, throwing it at me, not the whole bottle, but like the juice, like, where she threw it, or maybe she did throw the whole, I don't know, the bottle didn't hit me, but the juice did. The liquid hit me right in the face and pissed me the fuck off. And I started, like if I was gonna go at her and yelling at her. But then another employee that quit a long time ago, Eddie, he and this guy, he had gotten punched in the face by one of these fucking clients before, and they didn't do shit to the dude. They didn't do shit for Eddie. Like, they just let him made just, oh well, like, too bad, so sad. And well, he saw the woman do that, and he runs up and starts yelling at her, "Hey, get the fuck out of here!" Because I yelled at her to get the fuck out of here. And I was going towards her, but then he got in the way and he started, like, chasing her down, and she started walking away, because these people know, they might be, like, all fucked up in their head because of their traumas and shit, but they fucking know, when you mess with somebody that's not gonna take your shit, you better back the fuck up if you're not ready to throw down, because it's gonna happen if you keep up this shit. And some of them, like, they're not about that. They don't want that, so they just want the attention, or they just want to cause a scene or whatever, like this fucking bitch. So And then Angie comes out, she saw the whole thing, and she starts getting mad at us because we're yelling at her and saying like we shouldn't be doing that or whatever, and I got in trouble for it, and he did too. I think he got written up. So it's like, well, my safety was in danger there. This lady is coming at me, throwing shit at me, and I don't have a right to even yell at her and tell her to get the fuck out of here. I can't even like do that. I can't even call the cops. She didn't even call the cops on her. She didn't even want to call the cops. And I was new at the time, so I was kind of like, I didn't know if I called the cops if they were gonna like fire me right away. So I was like, I didn't call the cops. I should have fucking called the cops to make a police report because that's assault. She fucking assaulted me. I don't know if she spit in there, what fucking disease she has. Like, what the fuck, man? I was pissed, and when they were writing me up, I was telling her in the office too. Like, so we let them hit us. Like, we're just supposed to sit there and let them abuse us. Like, that's okay. That's okay to teach her that it's fine to treat people like that in the real world. That's what you're teaching her, that she can act and behave that way and nothing's going to happen to her. That's all she's learning from this. And then they ended up I don't even think they were going to suspend her at first or nothing, but they ended up suspending her for a while. I don't know how long, but anyways, like, the safety is horrible there. It's fucking bad. Bad. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm learning these things as I'm going along. I'm learning how it works. It all works. And after a while of seeing shit like that, seeing how my safety is not a priority, seeing how the client's, well-being is not really a priority. The only priority really is the image that we're putting out there for people to see. That's when I was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I really don't. Like, they're good people there, and really honestly, like, I feel like, again, like, they're just a victim of their own mentalities. Like I said, mentalities shape organizations, and if you have this certain mentality that you have to look good, you have to look a certain way so that people can perceive you a certain way. Obviously, that's going to be your priority in the decisions you make, and you're not going to understand how you're being hypocritical in certain things because those other certain things are not your priority. So yeah, like, I don't blame them, or see them as evil or anything like that. They're human. They're human beings. They're trying to survive as well. Like, they worry also about their bills and their job and what they're gonna do, and like, they have all those concerns also. So again, I don't really take it personally. Like, it upsets me and I get angry about it, but I don't take it personally, like, where I feel like they're targeting me, or they don't like me, or they're whatever. Like, I don't take it in that way. So I'm quitting, which is why I'm spilling the beans on everything, because I really don't give a fuck, like, who sees this or what. Like, I don't care if they know. Like, I'm gonna start talking about it anyways, holidays there, like, because it's fucking horrible. Like, it's horrible to be that way. You should care about your employees. You should care about what's going on in their lives. You should care about the stress that's being put on them as well. And you should work to accommodate your work environment to make sure their work environment to make sure that they're not having to be as stressed out as they are. So if that means hiring another fucking maintenance person, a professional maintenance person to be able to overlook your building issues so that there's not things just hanging in the wind waiting to be resolved, then do that. I mean, hire a contractor, pay him a rate just for going out, like, to check those things constantly. Like, so it's not so expensive having to hire the professional to do it each time. Like, hire a general maintenance guy to do maintenance on a contract level for everything. Like, these things are not hard. They're not. There's people out there that are jacks of all trade. These things are not hard to do. You just have to put effort into it. And if you're not concerned about it, if you don't give a fuck that one of your employees' fathers is dying and her son is dying and she's stressed out and overworked and you want to add more work to her plate, that's not even her work. It's the Catholic Charities work that they should have done in the first place. Like, then you're not going to do it. You're just going to be doing whatever you feel like you want to do for yourself or for your image, for the image of the organization, for whatever role you play. And that's it. And that doesn't fly with me. I don't like that. I don't want to be a part of that type of environment where it's like so polarizing, where it's like you feel like they really care, you're really like a concern, and then at the end it's like you mess up the image, you're gone. That's it. You're out. You messed up the image. You messed up the flow of keeping the image good. So you're done. No. I don't give a fuck about image. I give a fuck about truth and realness.